أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and good morning. Good morning everyone.
Good morning.
It's rightly said that human brain is a wonderful organ. It starts working the moment we are born, and it never stops until we stand up before the audience to deliver a speech or a presentation. Today, I hope my brain doesn't stop during my presentation. And I also hope that if you plan to do a presentation tomorrow, your brain should not stop as well. With this positive hope, my dear friends, I would like to start my presentation by playing a video of a presentation. And I request everybody to watch it carefully and keenly and try to observe or spot some errors or problems in that video. As you can see in the screen, watch this video and spot some errors. So are you ready to watch that?
Yes.
But before you do that, may I request everybody to put your mobile phones on the silent mode. Please. So that's the video for you. Please watch it and spot the errors.
Quadruple check notices people file in, getting the computer ready, and asking everyone to take a seat. Pretending to click something on the computer. I broke the fact that I don't know what arriving just in time.
Wrapping up our conversation about the popular TV show we watched last night.
Disdain for a popular TV show.
Mediocre icebreaker joke. That doesn't quite land. Attempt to redeem myself by making fun of that guy.
Laughing at that guy,
Laughing because he's laughing, I like him.
not laughing, and now checking out for the rest of the session.
Title, dramatic pause of my presentation.
Question about how long this session will last?
Annoyed, vague response.
Exaggerated eye roll.
Poignant quote from unknown full of a PowerPoint slide about a shocking statistic I just learned about, followed by all kinds of vague lingo that no one will remember 2 seconds from now. Followed by 3 bullet out-of-date pop culture reference.
Correction about pop culture reference.
Defending pop culture reference by citing social networking site no one uses.
Audible sigh, make sure everyone knows this is a complete waste of my time.
Curious and somewhat over the top reminder about how important this information is. Unexpected technical difficulty. Embarrassing people can see my mess on background.
Snide remark about how Macs are better than PCs.
Desperate plea for IT guy.
Fixing the problem with an annoyed look on my face, so that everyone knows how good at computers I am.
Clearly aware of the text. Prefacing a preface of a preface so that no one really understands the point that I'm prefacing. And now, going through a long list of facts, one by
nice audience. I really appreciate your patience and enjoying the video. Now I'm sure you all have those problems that I was actually trying to ask in this video. Let's start with the first problem. Can anyone start? Yes, please.
He's thinking out loud.
He's thinking
Out loud.
out loud. Okay. Another one,
Yes,
please.
we're talking to the screen, not to the audience.
He's talking to the screen. Okay, not to the
And
audience.
was reading.
Was reading.
You should have just the title and then you
Okay.
explain it or elaborate on it or whatever. But
Great.
you shouldn't have to repeat everything or write everything you're going to say.
That's an excellent observation. Let's say that. Yes, please.
He's using something that he's not comfortable with.
He's not comfortable, but he's using that. Okay.
Very dense slides, a lot of text.
A lot of texts on this list. Actually, there were lots of problems and we can't discuss all of them right now. And the way you responded and you answered, I wish I can have a gift like that to present to you. Trust me.
So you got it.
So next time we
Progress.
The last comment that I made, I want to make it is, he's trying to be humorous, but it is not humorous. He's embarrassing
It's
us.
embarrassing, and that's not the way one should try to use it. To create humor, you are actually insulting your audience. That's right. So, you also deserve a gift like that. You see on the screen. So, now please tell me, is it beautiful? That gift on the screen? It looks beautiful, right.
As long as it's not
If you
anything.
compare that, these two pictures, which one you think is more presentable? The first one. Any specific reason for that?
We can see the chocolate.
Element of surprise.
Element of surprise, packaging, nicely wrapped,
Looks like a very expensive gift.
and it looks like it's very expensive now.
And the presenter has
Oh, great! I'm really happy that you all are responding this way. Yes, please. You can also-
Golden color. Golden color.
Okay, golden color. That's
But I
attractive.
think it would be better if it's in my hand, not only on the.
Okay, inshallah, we'll have that in the next presentation. I will try to have it physically here so that you can have the
one more
present that.
consideration into this one. Like the presenter has really put efforts to make it presentable.
The one who is giving this gift or present to someone, he really put, or he tried to put all his efforts into that to make it more presentable.
The first one has got an element of expectation.
It has a lot of expectations. Well, I really appreciate that. I can't take more questions. We have a questions and answers round towards the end of this presentation. So I think we start from the word expectation from my friend who is here. And I ask you one question, that what do we actually expect from a good gift or present? Now, that's the next question. You said we have expectations. What exactly is that?
Be valuable,
It should be valuable. Great.
practical,
Practical, useful. What else?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Maybe expensive, precious.
Something to my needs.
Something that you need. Great. Let me tell you, for a presenter, presentation also is a kind of gift that a presenter should give to his audience. And it should be valuable. It should have something that you really take it home with you. And you remember it. Should be memorable. Right? Well, let's say, what do we expect from a good presentation? Again, a few questions. What do we expect from a good presentation? What do you expect?
Good information.
Good information, great.
You are focused,
Focused.
you work out, and you learn something.
You work hard and you learn something.
Practical ideas.
Practical, great.
Normally, the people decide to go to one presentation once they see basic info given in the brochure about the presentation. And then when they come to the presentation, they match their expectations with the presentation.
So it's very high.
It should be matching.
That doesn't match. It should be matching.
Yeah.
Great.
Interesting.
Interesting.
It should be interesting and entertaining to students.
Entertaining too. Well, that's really great, and all ideas are so nice that in my next presentation I'll try to use if I missed something. Okay. I did a survey and I took interview of lots of colleagues here at the ELI last week and probably 10 days ago. And let's see, what do our colleagues here at the ELI think about the same questions? There were two questions actually. What do we expect from a good presentation, and why do people avoid doing presentations? Let's see what do our colleagues at the ELI think and have opinion about this here in this meeting.
Presentation, I think, is something that is very well organized, that it's really evident that the presenter spent a good bit of time preparing ahead of time, thinking about the structure of the presentation and where he wants to go, that there's sort of a very clear outline.
I think it should be highly interactive. You can't just read off the screen of the computer and hope to deliver an engaging presentation.
But it seems to give you something new. You can take a look at the presentation and think, yes, I can use that information now.
Presentation should be mixed on theory and practical.
Be very well ready for the presentation, well prepared. Most importantly is to provide us with something new. So
My presentation should have at least two main parts. One is its contents itself, and the other one is how the contents are delivered. So
it should be well organized, and the presentation should be well prepared.
The content is important as well, that it's relevant content, that it's useful for our classrooms, that it's practical, that
You should be able to reach out to your audience with positive body language, maintain constant eye contact, and engage the mood of your audience to be able to improvise accordingly. The bottom line is be flexible. Never mind on the presentation. Another important factor is the way you project your voice.
A presentation should be very engaging and interactive.
And when you have a practical part, they will take part in the presentation, and they will not feel alienated. They will not feel, somewhat away from the presentation. They will be part of the presentation. So I will.
And presentation is something interesting, active, interactive.
Even in form of slides, so the presenter should be very well prepared.
pieces of demonstration, so the presenter gives some inputs, and the presenter sort of demonstrates what he was talking about.
Some people are scared of giving presentations. For them, it's nothing short of a nightmare. One reason perhaps is low self-confidence. If you're too self-conscious, you'll be scared of failure and won't be able to face it.
People don't do presentations because people generally don't like standing up in front of other people. They feel they're making themselves a target, and a lot of people lack the confidence.
That laying off incentive is the first reason.
Few cases, but when you're presenting, you can see that some of the attendees just attack the presenters, not just respond to what he said, they attack him, and that makes him feel intimidated. So the criticism
May not feel very comfortable and confident while facing so many people.
From presentation, you need something that is important and above all else memorable.
The last word I remember, that's memorable, right? If all those ideas are great and expectations are okay, a presenter actually should try to make his presentation as per the expectation of the audience. And this is what we were talking about a few minutes ago. That's right? You agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on this interview and survey, I tried myself to make this presentation quite practical, informative, and I took care of the slides, videos, etc. as much as I can. Okay. Now here, the next point. Today's presentation is divided into 3 main parts. And the first one is pre-presentation stage, that is the planning stage. That's very important. And the next one, as you can see on the screen, is the time that the presenter actually delivers, and that's the action time. He has the content, and now he's trying to deliver that. We call it during the presentation. And finally, we'll have the conclusion with some interesting questions and answers, and the feedback part. So that's the outline of today's presentation. Let's start with the first part, and it goes like that. Pre-presentation obstacles. Presenter, when he decides to do a presentation, there are some challenges and obstacles. And that is before he starts. What are those challenges?
Stage fear.
You look at, under the chair, there is a handout. If you may kindly take it and read those 5 reasons and arrange these challenges as per your choice, what do you think is the first one in your opinion? These arranges. And you can also discuss with your partners who are sitting next to you. Please do. Okay, may I have attention please? Once again, sorry to interrupt. I know you are doing great. I'm sure now you have arranged these reasons of your choice. These are first one, as you can see on the screen, not in the right order. That's the lack of incentives, lack of confidence and nervousness, stage fear, lack of time, and my dear friend was just raising one more question right now, and I want to add that also. Please tell me what was that?
We're talking about the subject matter you're doing itself, if you don't have enough knowledge about it, without going into
Great. So knowledge of the subject should be another challenge for that.
Also, the discussion skills of the person himself, this is very important. In addition to that, is technology. I'm going to present, so I'm going to use technology. So
it has a wider range actually.
Yeah.
Because of the time constraint, I have added only 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss more during the questions and answers round. Don't worry. Okay. Now, raise hands if your first choice is lack of time. No one. Good. One. Okay. Raise hands if you opted lack of, what's the second one there? Incentives as your first option. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yes. It's fair. Now, raise your hands, or you don't need to raise your hands. I think all others, either lack of confidence, nervousness, or stage fear. Everyone. So you all agree with that. Great.
Three different things.
But usually this
Three different things, but they are actually connected somehow or the other to each other. Okay. It's related to fear.
If you're nervous and lack of confidence, you have stage fear.
Exactly. Listen what our friend is saying. If you have lack of confidence, you have stage fear. If you go on the stage, you might be nervous. So that's either of these three, like 1, 2, 3, nervousness, lack of confidence, or stage fear. If that is your choice, number 1, 2, or 3, you can raise your hands, and you all did that. Actually, for a presenter, the biggest enemy is the fear within. Or else, everybody here in this world or sitting here in this room has great ideas. I have ideas, you too have ideas, and that could be even greater and bigger and more powerful. Now, when I speak about powerful, can you please name one animal that is really powerful and huge, very big animal? Elephant. There we go. And that's the picture here on the screen. You can see how big and huge and powerful this animal is. Right? And that represents the ideas that we have. That's really huge, big, strong, and powerful. Now the problem here is, what's the reason people still do not use those ideas and share those ideas with friends and others? Look at the other picture on the screen. And what do you see now? Change. Such a huge and big elephant can't move more than, let's say, 1 or 2 steps maximum. He can do that. The chain will pull the animal back to this place. The reason is, look at the size of the chain and size of the animal and compare that. A small chain is restricting and limiting the talents of such a big animal. The small chain represents the fear that we have within. For a presenter, the first thing that he must do during the planning stage is to kill the fear within. If the fear is not there, you can easily do a good presentation. And after that, try to select a good topic, appropriate topic for your presentation. Once you have that, you can go for doing a survey or have interviews, talk to your friends, colleagues, relatives, or anyone else, your teachers maybe, and the internet, Google, YouTube, etc. Once you get the information from anyone, do research and analyze your ideas, information, organize them well. Finally, you have to practice and present before the audience. So here we come to the end of the first part of today's session, and we'll now move to the second part. We have a question and answer.
No. I have just a comment with planning stage.
Yeah, please.
What I think you have missed is the audience. Keep the audience in mind when you are planning.
I appreciate, and that's a very good question. It's all about the audience. Whatever we are doing we are doing it for them, and we can't miss it. Once we finish this, I'm sure inshallah you will find that part also in the presentation, that when we talk about the audiences. Well, thank you very much for your participation and raising this very valid point. Well, moving forward to the next part of my presentation, that is the action part, delivery part, the stage where the right test and examination of the presenter is done on the stage. Most of the presenters and people in general have the kind of feeling and they think that the presentation actually starts when the presenter is showing or playing the first slide on the screen. Do you agree with me? Okay, now I'm playing the first slide and my presentation starts. But actually that's not the case. Presentation actually starts the moment you enter your room. And if you go back, it actually starts 2 or 3 weeks back when you decided to do or work on certain topics or the selected topic. And then starts the action part. As we know that the first interaction of the audience and the presenter is the first impression, when they first see each other, non-verbal kind of communication, without saying anything. So we have to, the presenter has to be quite impressive, dress to impress. If you look at the picture here, that's an example. It's not something that we have to be like that, but this could impress your audience well. Or if you are here in Saudi Arabia or the Gulf countries, you can use the other kind of dress or uniform to impress your audience. When you first enter, the first impression actually is very important for the presenter. Right? Now, that's the other one. In phase 2, during the presentation, we have another thing, but actually the presenter has to be very active. If he is not active, if he is not enthusiastic, he can never have a good presentation. So there has to be the element of being active and enthusiastic. Every action has its equal and opposite reaction. This is what the third law of motion is all about. If my action is like that, I was trying to explain that a presenter has to be active and enthusiastic, and my body language, voice tone, and the way I'm trying to present is completely different and opposite. What is the result? Can I expect similar kind of reaction from the audience? Yeah. Of course not. If you really want to have some sort of this kind of reaction from your audience, you have to actually be active and enthusiastic. And look at the picture here. Everyone, the presenter first of all, is very active, and because of that, the reaction, everyone sitting there is quite enthusiastic, engaged, and active. So remember, every action has its equal and opposite reaction. Now, moving to the next part is, look at these 3 slides and 3 different presenters in different rooms, and tell me what are the problems that you can observe or notice here. Reading the slides. Okay, can we do it in a different way? Instead of saying it together, let's have it one by one. Okay, please.
Too much information on the slides that we can't read. The audience can't read what is
Great. Next. Not facing the audience. Next.
Abuse of technology.
Abuse of technology. Now, for example, if I try to look at the slides as a presenter and I'm just reading it, am I connected with my audience right now? Please tell me now, am I connected?
No.
Except you can hear my voice, but I am not connected with my audience. Here, see the problem of these poor people, they're also trying to read out what's written on the screen. and they can't.
Victimized.
Okay,
Might be a lecture.
the thing is that a presenter should not read. He should not have anything readable on the slides, actually. If
Yes.
he has it, he will read it. As simple as that. So he should not read.
As they say, less is more.
Less is more. Okay. And Fayaz is right here. Now the question is, if he should not read, what exactly he's supposed to do?
Summarize the ideas.
Summarize the ideas.
Bullets,
And else.
No, to write the titles and the headlines and then elaborate.
Here we go. Speak and demonstrate. Your audience is waiting to listen to you and talk to you, interact with you, and you are just interacting with the slides and the board. So you have to speak and actually demonstrate what you are trying to explain to your audience. Now, see, there are two pictures, and these are just the examples. Like here, if you are doing a workshop, your posture or body language or your position could be like this in a conference or public speech or coaching or teaching or selling a product or teaching using your book, for example. These are different positions that a presenter or even a teacher can use while talking to the audience or the students. Now, I spoke a lot about these things, but what's the solution? Where is the solution? If we want to engage the audience, if we want to be active, if we have to demonstrate, if we have to impress, where is the solution? What we have to do to get that result? For this, we'll discuss it. Yeah. So for this, I tried myself to create a technique known as wedge technique. V-E-G, wedge technique. And here, V stands for voice tone. If you remember the video of Fayaz, he was telling that voice tone should be appropriate. And V stands for voice tone. E for eye contact. And G for gestures.
How about posture?
Body language.
Exactly. I was expecting this question. This has a very wide area, and I don't want to go into the details. My point is that if you concentrate only on these 3 points, you can achieve the target of having a good presentation. You understand?
Yeah, did.
He said, what about the posture or body language? I mean, for a presentation workshop on this, if we can have 6 workshops in a week, only then we can complete each and every area for this. So today, we are just trying to have it.
Facial expression, body language.
Many things.
Come on the gestures.
Many things, exactly. So my point is that if you concentrate on 3 points, you are at least achieving the target of being a good presenter. And you are able to give a good message and presentation to your audience. That's my try. So let's concentrate on only 3 points. We have more. I don't say that that's the only 3 points. Okay? Now, here, voice tone. When we talk about V, voice tone, remember 4 P's. Okay? Pace, projection, poses, pitch. We are all qualified and experienced teachers of English language. So I cannot dare to explain these terms here in my presentation. You all know about this. However, what I'm going to do, we'll have a drill here because there is a phrase, it's my life. Okay? There's a song also, it's my life. Okay, it's my life. If you do it in different variations, for example, I'm very angry and I'm trying to say, it's my life. If we do that in different variations, activity and I want someone to say it angrily. Raise hands if someone can try saying this one angrily.
Sohail will say it. He's always angry.
Yeah.
It's my life.
Really angry?
No.
It's my life.
Can anyone try?
The
Angrily?
Sultan Rahi's expression.
It's my life.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's Sultan Rahi's.
Now, after, let's change the mood. Let's say it.
It's my life.
Let's say it's my life.
Not right.
That could be, right? That's good. Now, say it.
It's my life.
Oh, it's great. Can someone try saying it sadly?
It's my life.
Well, since we are laughing, let's say it laughingly.
It's my life.
It's my life. Great. That's excellent. That was really, thank you very much for being such a supportive and interactive kind of audience today. I'm really glad that I'm doing this presentation before such a nice audience here. Well, moving to the next part, that is the E part of which, that is eye contact. Everybody knows about it. I don't have to explain this again and again to anybody that the value of eyes. Okay? If you want to go into the hearts of your audience, deep into the hearts of your audience, the first way that is through the eyes of your audience. Okay? But it doesn't mean that you have to scare your audience and go very close to the audience there sitting. You know, you have to avoid, keep safe distance.
It depends on size of eyes. Actually.
Depends on the size of eyes. That's also a very common. So, whose eyes? Well, now that's the eye contact. Moving forward from the wedge technique, like voice tone, eye contact, now comes gestures. And I tell you, this part is very important for a presenter. If he doesn't take care of this gesture part, he can give wrong signals and messages to the audience. Maybe unconscious, unintentionally, but we should be careful while using gestures during the presentation. Look at this one. If you are not using it wisely, the audience can do anything. Okay? So, submissive palm position, like this.
Nazi salute. Looks like a Nazi salute.
The other one, actually the rule is that never point your finger to your audience. I'm sorry I did that, but we should not do that, okay? That's the same picture here. Next one, thumbs up, okay? Okay signal. Then you have, I don't know, a presenter, maybe you are asking a question and a presenter is saying, what message you are taking from me? I'm not interested in your question, or I don't know, right? Clenched hands, they are difficult to decode. You may not know more about them. Rubbing hands, positive expectations. This one, I need to explain this. Sometimes a person or a presenter is quite confident and he is trying to move like this arrogantly. Okay, this is one way of giving gestures. At the same time, if I have a pen in my hand, okay, I'm doing a presentation, I feel I'm nervous, okay, and I'm trying to hide my hands behind. Unconsciously, I'm trying to read something on the screen and I'm facing the screen, not the audience. And you can see the movements of my hands right now.
Shivering, trembling.
What do you feel? What do you think about it? I'm trying to hide something and that is my fear, that is my nervousness or something else. We should try not to have this kind of gestures and we should also try that we should not let our audience see the back portion of as much as possible. try to stay away from that. Now, we all know about the open attitude and closed attitude, so I don't need to explain that. And evaluation, boredom, etc. Just look at the pictures and enjoy. Okay. But this one, a presenter, what he does sometimes, he doesn't know what exactly he's doing with his hands and body language, and he tries to pull his collar and the belts of his trousers and tries to do like that. Actually, what he does is kind of anger and frustration. All the time you think you are trying to, do something else rather than presenting. Now, most of the time, many presenters try to tell lies to the audience, and some experienced and seasoned audience, they can easily catch what the presenter is trying to say. And unintentionally, your gesture is like that. It means you are endorsing that you are not giving them the fact based on the truth, etc. So try to avoid having these kinds of gestures. A teacher or a presenter, I have noticed myself in different presentations, not here, and the presenter is sitting like that and having the hands closed and quite relaxed, but he isn't. He is actually quite nervous, or he is reserved or defensive attitude. Avoid it. I'll just change my posture or gesture slightly and try. I want you all to notice what I'm doing now. I'm sitting right now like this. And now I sit like this. What's the difference? Can you tell me? That's the difference on this.
And we're more attentive, we're more positive.
Maybe you are more positive, or maybe your attitude is something like you're arrogant. Okay, tough-minded maybe. So, slight changes in your voice tone, slight changes in your gestures or body language, position can give wrong message to your audience. Now, the question is, if we do not use the wedge technique or something like that, you can create your own techniques. It's not something that I'm telling you, you have to do this. No. You can create your own ways or techniques of engaging the audience or doing an excellent presentation. But if you do not do so, you are not doing justice to your work or with the audience. And what happens? You are actually killing your audience with your presentation and the PowerPoint. Keeping this in my mind, I tried to Google one thing, and I want you also to do that whenever you are free. And that was the death by PowerPoint. Google it, and you will find this screen. That's the screenshot I've taken while I was.
These Google images.
So
of PowerPoint
so,
used.
Okay, I'll help you out, dear brother. What's your name? Alf. Now, I'll zoom it for you. Okay? Now see that one. Spare audience. The other one, you don't need to read, just try to understand. Third one, 7 rules. The fourth one, look at the position of these poor people. Okay? Death by PowerPoint actually means that you are killing, literally, your audience by using bad PowerPoint or bad content or bad gestures, etc. So try to avoid having these kinds of killing, during the session that's on. I also tried to Google one more thing that was bad PowerPoint. I wanted to know before my presentation that what are the bad PowerPoint slides. And I found this one, I got this one. That was the first screen, first page. And I took the screenshot and I wanted to use it for my presentation. Okay. That is the example, best example of the bad PowerPoint slides. Here, if you zoom in, you will see that's the famous person from Microsoft. What's the name? Bill Gates. His company made this one PowerPoint and see what kind of presentation he is trying to do. So try to have some ideas of bad things also and take some few good examples of the slides from the internet or Google or YouTube, etc. and use your own ideas and you can make lots of slides that can really impress your audience. Now imagine that my next presentation, we talked about everything. Now for example, I'm doing one more presentation, or you are doing a presentation, and your topic or my topic for the next presentation is classroom management. And I'm using this slide for my classroom management topic. And I'm trying to explain what is classroom management, so I have to go very close to the slide and read it. Even I can't read it well. How can I expect that people sitting there can read it? Now look at the other one. Which one do you think can be used with more power and it can impress or have good, impression?
The one on the right.
The one on the right. Okay. This slide was taken from this page and it says classroom management. If you type your topic, whatsoever the topic is, you type it over it, you find this one. I took this one, if you go back, this slide was taken from here, that's the screenshot you see it here. Okay? That is one example of a bad slide. The question comes that why do people still use bad slides? If they know they want to impress the audience, if they know that they are going to kill the audience, why do they still use it?
Lack of time.
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of time.
Lack of time.
Clarity of concept is not there.
Clarity of concept is not there. Do you think that this could also be one of the reasons here why do they use typical slides? That's the easiest way. Because you have everything on the screen.
Yes.
Discomfort with language could be one.
Yes. And you don't have to practice or put lots of efforts while doing presentation or making the planning stage or during the presentation, etc. You don't have to do anything. You have everything ready-made. You just do it. No efforts needed. You can't expect a good result if you are using the typical way of doing presentations. So we have to be careful about this. Now, conclusion is, in today's world, presentation techniques or skills, that is the need of today's world. While I'm doing a presentation now, I don't know how many people around the world must be doing it in different places or attending or preparing. Starting from your school or your kids' schools, colleges, universities, work sites, social life, and even at home. If you buy a present for your wife, for example, and you don't have the presentation skills, it can put you in trouble, right?
Sometimes.
Right? So this is needed everywhere, and that's why it can make you different from others. It's very well said that winners don't do different things. They do things differently. We have to do things differently. We don't need to do different things. Okay? Now, on the next slide, I need your help. What help? When you look at the picture, first one I'll try to say it. After that, every picture, try to do it together. Not in a chaotic way. Just tell me what you see in the picture. Okay? The first one. What I hear, I forget. Your turn.
Oh, you can't hear it.
Yeah. What I hear, it's
It's contrary, say it again, yes.
The point is, what I hear, I forget.
What I see, I remember.
What I hear and see, I remember. Now everyone, please, please. What I hear, what I see, what I discuss. What I hear, what I see, what I discuss, I begin to understand. Next one, what I hear, what I see, what I discuss, and what I do. I become skilled. And now, what I hear, what I see, what I discuss, what I do, and what I present, I master. The ultimate target is that we have to master it. And to master it, we have to put our efforts, and we have to follow these 3 parts and phases: pre-planning stage, during the presentation, and after the presentation. If you do that, trust me, you are going to master this skill. Now, before we have 3-4 minutes more. Special thanks to Mr. Michael, Mr. Hussain, Mr. Arshad Al-Haq, Mr. Walid Shoki, Mr. Mumtazul Islam, Mr. Shafqat Ali, Mr. Lance Cutler, Mr. Salat Ali, Salat Abbas, I think, and Mr. Fiyaz Alam, Mr. Ilyas Hussain, Mr. Suhail Sarandi. And my special thanks also goes to Google and YouTube, because that's helped me a lot for this presentation. And how can I forget my dear audience who was really so cooperative and supportive. So my special thanks to you all for being such a nice audience today. And I'm really glad that I get a chance through PD to do this presentation before such an excellent audience. And now it's time to have questions if you have any, please.
I have a question about killing.
Killing.
Yeah. How can I kill the fear?
How can you kill fear? Actually, I'll give you one example. If you allow me, I'll give you my personal example. My daughter was scared of going on the stage. And I tried to convince her that take part in speech competitions with her. But she didn't. I gave her one example. Like, for example, the fear is the size of the animal, the elephant. Closer you go to the elephant, the size of the fear, it reduces. Okay. You go one more step, take another step, the fear, it will again reduce. And once you are there, you don't have it.
It's not really fear, it could be just some...
It could be anything, any nervousness, anything that you lack. So his question was about fear, so I tried to explain
It's
that.
quite normal to be intense at the very beginning.
Yeah.
If you're not used to presentations, but if you're used,
Yeah, more questions.
but it has to the last slide. This is
Yeah, more questions, please.
I think the way of killing the fear is good preparation and practice. To kill fear, we have to prepare well and practice.
You have to prepare well. Please, it's not over yet. I need one more minute from you. If you have any more questions, so I will do you all. Questions, please.
Is it recommended to leave the floor for your audience to express their opinions or agree or disagree with what you said?
I think we should not do that, because something they have, they spent almost an hour with you, and you are not giving them the chance to speak out or discuss, then it's not a fair presentation. Give them a chance. Unless they are not interested to ask questions, you should give them a chance to speak to you and discuss their points.
I think that also gives you some time to think ahead.
Yeah.
That gives you thinking time. As you
One
interact
last
with
question,
all this.
Do you have any gifts for us?
Yeah, we have. As I told you, if you remember my first statement, that for a presenter, a good presentation is the best gift that you can give to his audience. So please take this presentation as a gift. Next time, inshallah, I'll bring a better gift for you. That is the evaluation